Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys. Cowboys Mike McCarthy gets encouraging update after undergoing surgery for appendicitis. It wasn't an injury to a player that cropped up in the middle of the Dallas Cowboys prep week for the Philadelphia Eagles, but an illness for head coach Mike McCarthy. After McCarthy was hospitalized for an appendectomy on Wednesday, the Cowboys head coach is back home Thursday morning following a successful procedure, as reported by John Makota. McCarthy had to leave the Star on Tuesday with abdominal discomfort that turned out to be appendicitis. The procedure wasn't considered serious, but it did cast a shadow of doubt upon McCarthy's availability on the sideline for Sunday's home game against the Eagles. Play-calling duties would have likely been succeeded by Cowboys offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, but the Cowboys will be glad to have McCarthy calling the shots after Dallas' recent dominant offensive stretch. The Cowboys have scored 39 points per game since Week 8 and gone 5-1 over that span. Dak Prescott should be relieved to hear that McCarthy is trending towards coaching Sunday evening as well. The Cowboys' franchise quarterback has been clicking with his play caller recently, and accruing MVP numbers in the process. Having McCarthy in his ear as opposed to adjusting to his absence could have major implications for Prescott. McCarthy is now expected to be on the sideline for what is set to be the biggest regular season game the Cowboys will play all year. A Dallas win on Sunday afternoon will force a tie at the top of the division, while an Eagles victory all but locks up a division title for Philly. Parsons wants to be unstoppable versus Eagles. There's no need to state the obvious, but let's do it one more time anyway. The rematch between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles is a high-stakes game that has the potential to send shockwaves throughout the playoff picture atop the NFC East and NFC. It's something linebacker Micah Parsons understands very well, and he's geared up for the fight. It's always one of the biggest games in football, if not the biggest, said the first-team All-Pro. The intensity is always high, the emotions high, and everyone wants to win. It's a brawl. It's always one where you've got to get the ice bags ready. As Parsons explained, it's yet another ice bag game for the Cowboys, but also for the Eagles, who were roundly beaten into their own dirt at Lincoln Financial Field by the San Francisco 49ers. With that loss, the Cowboys can take the lead in the division by virtue of having one more win in the NFC East than do the Eagles, and draw a very clear line to the top seed in the conference. That can only happen if they don't allow the Eagles to sweep them this weekend. Parsons and the Cowboys understand the assignment, but they won't make the same mistake they made in Week 5 against the 49ers, overhyping the contest while the 49ers played loose and confident en route to a blowout victory. All that matters right now is this game and, even with everything that's at stake, it's still just another game on the regular season schedule, which is to say it's just another obstacle to overcome on the road to their ultimate goal. I feel like it's the same thing, at the end of the day, said Parsons. Each week you've got to win or it affects your long-term goals. The key is just to win and that's the only thing that matters. The first matchup ended in a narrow 5-point loss to the Eagles in hostile territory that ultimately boiled down to a game of inches, which should invoke confidence in Dallas' ability to get the job done in Week 14, and especially a defense that held Jalen Hurts to little more than 200 passing yards and an A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith-led receiving corps that, individually, came nowhere near 100 yards receiving, abruptly ending Brown's streak of 125-plus yard games. And after seeing what the 49ers' defense was able to do in Philly, Parsons doesn't see any reason the Cowboys can't replicate that effort in Dallas. I watched the whole 49ers versus Eagles game, Parsons said. One thing they did was they kept the ball in front of them. They made the Eagles earn everything. They didn't give up any big plays. That's always the key when you've got an explosive team like the Eagles. They are very explosive. They did a great job containing Hurts, and things like that. It didn't show up in the stats, but we got some real good rushers over here, too, that can get after them pretty well. After all, It's not as if the Cowboys' defense doesn't practice against an MVP frontrunner and his stable of weapons on a daily basis. Cowboys' CeeDee Lamb reveals passionate Dak Prescott take that will fire up fans ahead of Eagles game. The Dallas Cowboys have won a lot more games than they've lost with Dak Prescott as their quarterback. But a lack of success in the playoffs creates doubt as to whether Prescott has what it takes, whatever that means. One person not buying it? Dallas wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Lamb went to bat for Prescott on Thursday, labeling the duo, both winners, per The Athletic's John Makota. In his comments, Lamb praised Prescott's commitment to bettering himself and his teammates. "We're willing to do whatever it is, whether it's a change in our technique, whatever it takes for him to be comfortable in the pocket when he sees me and for me to be comfortable in my route when I see him," Lamb said. Being on the same page, staying true to each other and staying within the boundaries of the play. It's hard to imagine Prescott and Lamb being more comfortable with each other's tendencies. Lamb ranks second among all receivers in yards and third in receptions. The Cowboys' 2020 first-round draft pick has 100-plus yards in 6 of 12 games this season. Dallas quarterback continued on Lamb. "He's just reaping the rewards for all the work that he's put in this thing, our trust, the way that he attacks and approaches this game. Ellipsis. We both are conquerors. Ellipsis. That guy's a playmaker and he wants to make plays. I'm always going to want a guy around that's asking to make more plays than the opposite." The gaudy numbers Prescott and Lamb have put up together for the Cowboys this season prove their words are no empty rhetoric. 49ers, Nick Bosa sends message to Cowboys. You see it on tape. San Francisco 49ers Pro Bowler Nick Bosa has a direct message for the Dallas Cowboys. As the Cowboys prepare to play their biggest regular season game of the year as they host the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 14, Bosa has some advice for Dallas. Use the blueprint that the Niners gave them. The Niners blew out the NFL-leading Eagles, 42-19, in Philadelphia. In the process of doing so, they completely negated the Eagles' rushing attack, and most importantly, they made quarterback Jalen Hurts a non-factor. "Yeah, I mean, you see it on tape, though," Bosa said. "Obviously, we put the blueprint out there. Hopefully the Cowboys watch the tape," Bosa said. "When it comes to slowing down Hurts,